Let's go back to Capitol Hill, where Kevin McCarthy is no longer the Speaker of the House. Now, personally, I didn't think this was necessary. Well, I think Chip Roy, Byron Donalds, Scott Perry, all Freedom Caucus conservatives, they would have given us the same outcome in terms of regular order appropriations bills, and by the way, cut government spending, secure the border, and literally stand up for the principles that Republicans need to stand up for. It all would have been done, but, you know, it is what it is at this point. What's done is now done. And sadly, now Republicans, they better move quickly. They've got to act swiftly. They've got to prove to you, the American people, that they can govern and keep their promises. To me, they've been doing a pretty good job. Maybe not fast enough for many of us, but that's the way that awful town works, sadly, the sewer, the swamp. Now, 8 Republican lawmakers joined all 208 House Democrats to oust the Speaker last night after a motion to vacate was put forward by Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. 210 out of 218 Republicans voted to keep McCarthy, but with such a slim majority, it was simply not enough for Kevin McCarthy. And by the way, he didn't have to have that vote yesterday. He said, all right, that's the vote you want to have. I'm not going to make a deal with the Democrats. Let's have the vote. I'll win or lose. And you know what? I thought that took some courage and guts on his part. The 8 Republicans who turned on McCarthy had a variety of complaints. I thought some were legitimate, some not worthy of the action they took. Lack of action on appropriations bills. Well, I think that Byron Donalds and Chip Roy and those guys came up with a pretty good answer. In 30 days, that would have been done and handled. Also, you know, bipartisan continuing resolutions, they do have to stop. We do have to return to order. We do need to pass all 12 appropriations bills. It was also, and I know this for a fact, sadly, it was also personal. You know what? It's business. It shouldn't be personal. But now there will be a new speaker. We know that both House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, they now both are officially in. They are running to be Speaker. Let me tell you where I am tonight. Make no mistake, I like Steve Scalise. I think he's a great leader. I think he's a really good guy. He's a patriot. But I personally am worried for him for one very, very real reason. It's not going to be easy to run for Speaker. He happens to be going through cancer treatment right now, and I want his health to be put first. I really mean that when I say that. I don't think he should be changing his position at this time. With that in mind, again, no personal anything involved in this. My choice for chairman, my choice for Speaker, the best option I think we have is Jim Jordan, the Ohio congressman. Now, I do believe he could and should garner the full support of the GOP conference and can best articulate, that's for sure. He's the best guy at labeling lists of what Democrats do wrong and what Republicans do right of anybody in Washington. And I think he can articulate that agenda to the country. Jordan is vowing to finish the job on the 3 fundamental things that the House must do. Pass the bills, like the border bill, H.R. 2, which they had already passed, that need to be passed. Do the oversight. His committee is doing it, Judiciary Oversight, House Ways and Means Committee, and rein in spending, control our borders. It sounds simple, but with a tiny, tiny, minuscule majority, well, the fact is they've got many competing factions inside the GOP. That is just the reality. It is easier said than it is done. And between the 18 moderate Republicans in districts that Joe Biden won and conservatives in safe districts, there is often a big divide. They have to come together. Moving forward, House Republicans need to do that on several new protections. It's this simple. As a caucus, as a conference, they're either going to succeed together or they're going to fail together. It's not going to be this group of Republicans win and the other group of Republicans lose. No, either they win or the Democrats win. And they need to remember who the real enemy is, whose policies are hurting you, the American people, this country. Who needs to really be replaced? That would be the Democrats. And together, well, with the next GOP speaker, whoever that might be, they've got to be given the chance to serve for at least the rest of this 218th Congress. In other words, the now infamous one-person threshold for a motion to vacate, that has to go away. With this slim majority, it becomes impossible to govern that way, especially when you got 221 people that all have their own personal views. The next speaker, they will have 15 months to prove themselves, and then come January of 2025, Republicans, if they're happy with the job of the new speaker, they can either vote that person's speaker to be speaker again. If they are not, well, okay, they can be unified and bring in the next person. Or if they're not careful, they might be voting for the next minority leader if they don't get the job done. The patience of the American people is on a short leash here. Now, if the sound of Speaker Hakeem Jeffries doesn't sit well with conservatives and Republicans, perhaps that will be motivation enough to come together and get the job done. And finally, it is imperative that House Republicans pick a speaker quickly. We don't have time for 15 votes. The first round of votes are going to take place next Tuesday, probably either Tuesday or Wednesday, actually. And this needs to be wrapped up as quickly, as expeditiously as possible. We are now on the cusp of a critical presidential election, and the House has a very key, important role to play. They need to hold together. They need to hold the line against the radical left and their insane agenda. They need to continue their oversight into Joe Biden, what I'm calling the Joe Biden bribery and money laundering scandal allegations. They've got to keep their feet to the fire. We cannot live in a country with a dual system of justice and a weaponized FBI and a weaponized DOJ. They need to demonstrate the obvious benefits of the conservatism, the conservative agenda. You know, one with less spending, less inflation, less woke total BS, fewer government restrictions, lower gas prices, energy security, border security, safety in every city, every town in this country so Americans can pursue happiness, a free and fair judiciary that applies the law, not judicial activism, and Republicans need to stop fighting each other right now and focus on what has become a radical Democratic Party that is turning this country upside down and has put 66% of this country living paycheck to paycheck, and many can't make their monthly payments. And by the way, all while their decrepit, frankly, president withers on the vine right before our very eyes. And, of course, socialist roots, they're trying to remake America. They want you to own nothing and to have no basic rights. They want to pick your appliances. They want to pick your car. They want to replace personal responsibility with collectivism. They want to eliminate America's borders altogether and destroy American pride. They are ruthless in their unending mission to transform this country away from capitalism. Now is the time for Republicans and conservatives. You must now quickly come together and fight back hard. Do it on a united front. Now, in a signal of things to come, the Speaker pro tem, Patrick McHenry, well, he just evicted both Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi from their special hideaway offices in the Capitol. By the way, that was a good move. It is time for the GOP to be unrelenting against Democrats and radical socialists instead of each other for a change. Biden is the worst president in American history. Let's not give Democrats and the mob and the media a sideshow to distract them from their failures. Their policies are hurting each and every American in this country. It's time to get America back on track. Yeah, to use the phrase, bring this country back to greatness again. We need that desperately. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.